Wow, another video so soon? I am so epic and based. Yes, indeed I am. I have been wanting to make this for about a week and a half, I would say. It occurred to me first when I analyzed the sliding and driving world records for this channel, and then I made a video talking about why the platforming aisles used to be on main boards, and now they're on extensions. In fact, they have been for a few years now, like 3 years, I think. And yeah, so I mean, while these have been overlooked for a long time, with the sliding and driving levels, we're hitting a limit. We already have hit a limit on a lot of them, and we will hit a limit on the other ones probably sooner than later. Platforming ILs, for the most part, still have a ways to go until there's just nowhere else to go. I don't think we'll ever see, like, perfect times for any of these, really. Because it's played so little, and there is a completely different skill to mastering sliding and driving, or one or the other, compared to mastering platforming and having, like, good loads and stuff like that. You know, there's just, like, it's hard to get, like, a perfect time in a platforming level, generally, I feel like. So yeah, I thought this would be interesting. So I have all of the ILs, and we'll just be watching them, maybe in, like, ×2 speed, and just saying, like, what times are, like, realistically possible and stuff. This won't be, like, super long video, I don't think. Although we do need to go over some stuff. I'm taking all the world records. In the case of a tie, it is whoever got the world record first. Speedrun.com recognizes that person. Like, if 3 people have a time, then the person who got it first will be at the very top, even though it'll all say first place. It is, like, objectively more impressive for somebody to get that time first, especially because the next person to get that time might have had faster loads, or they might have done more strats, or, like, there's greater knowledge than before. Things like that. You know, it's just, like, the safest thing to do is to give whoever got it first, like, the crown, the crown in that sense, like, having them at the very top. So we'll be looking at the first places for, the very top, so the oldest records. That is still first place for all of these, with one exception, because it was a Twitch VOD, and I really just do not want to look at a fucking Twitch VOD, because the Twitch video player is, like, the actual worst thing on the entire planet. So yeah, I'll also be quickly mentioning the dates of when all these were set. Oh yeah. So it'll just be the platforming levels, not the bosses. So it'll be No Cheese, Depression, 3K, BBBH, NTWM, SCDA, and Plank. The categories are all tokens, all extras, and 100%. So time starts on first input, and it ends, if it's on a token, just, like, the frame, like, where it's obviously you've, like, touched the token, and if it's an extra, then it's the frame that the text box says that you've collected an extra. Also, the rules, essentially, or, like, what's allowed. Magnetic pickup is not allowed. What is allowed, basically any cheats. Max health, unlock all moves, macho, warp anywhere, especially that one. Like, that one's useful for, like, every category, pretty much. You don't have to, like, for example, you can start an IL with, like, only cartwheel upgraded but nothing else if you really want to. Don't really know why you'd want to do that, but you can. So yeah, so ILs are weird in this game. We've tried to make things as convenient as possible for people, but it's still kind of a pain in the ass. Because, like, in this game, like, BFBILs was such a... I don't know about now, I'm not sure, but at least back in the day, it was such a bitch to set up ILs because it didn't have an unlockable test sheet. You'd have to, like, cruise boost in the hub, and then, like, go out of bounds, and then, like, go the other side. Like, especially if you go into levels like Dream or whatever. In this game, we just wanted to make it as convenient as possible, which is why we also allow sort of equivalents for, like, when time starts. So, if you warp to a location and you fuck it up, but you literally just can't tell that you've been there, then we let you, like, you don't have to quit game and start a new game. You don't have to do that unless it's, like, an irrecoverable thing. So, things like that. So, this may seem pretty weird, but yeah, hopefully that makes sense. And finally, 6 minutes into this video, which I said would not take long, let's finally get into it. So, the first one, which is also the oldest world record, is No Cheese All Tokens 42.7 by Jackalaka. And this was set on October 10th, 2019. So, we'll just be taking a quick look at this. This is one of the only ILs. I think it's one of only, like, 4 or 5 where, loads do not matter. So, as you can see there, he started time, so immediately he did a trick. This is exclusive to, well, it's, okay. To do this as fast as possible, like, you need to play on OG Xbox, and only OG and 360 can do this anyway. But the way they do it on OG, this is a ground clip, so when SpongeBob is falling, if you just don't move the stick and just wait for SpongeBob to fall, then if you do the inputs, like select and select, kind of not immediately, you want to wait like a bit, you get a feel for it as you get better at it, and you can even like hold the buttons or time it differently slightly to generate more lag. Also, sometimes how much lag you get can depend on how far into the music you are, or obviously, of course, how much stuff is in your view. But a lot of people just don't bother with things like that because that's just like, who would want to do that, you know, pain in the ass. And these lag clips are technically consistent anyway, if not quite hard. So he just jumps on this car, and then SpongeBob starts falling, and then he does select, and then after the second select, he just holds R. And if done properly, it's pretty precise, but if done properly, you clip through. If you want to do this as, like, easily as possible, you jump on top of the car ceiling, the roof, but not in an IL, you don't. So now that we are under the ground, we are now going to make it to the token, but there's still more going on. So you cut this line, and then you just jump up. You can get caught there, but generally, like, it's fine. That spin lost frames. You don't want to spin unless it's necessary, or if it just makes something go from really hard to really consistent. Spinning loses 3 frames, I believe, and he even wiggled a little bit, so probably lost another, like, 2 frames or something from that. That spin was a little more debatable, because he cut a little more ground with that, so that one's, I'm not too sure. Now he's just going in a straight line, so we don't really need to see this. And if you want to do this as consistently as possible, you go off of this wooden plank thing. However, in the IL, the best time to do it is to go off of this. But the window is very small. This is actually pretty damn hard. So he's clipped through and reacted immediately. The reason to do this is because there is an invisible wall here. So you need to clip under, stealing swim over the invisible wall. Or, I mean, through it, essentially. Under it, actually. I cannot English today. And then, you want to get close to the token, and then do an R plus A clip. So, the way that this works is that you wait, so when you jump, like, under a ceiling, you'll see the SpongeBob, like, you can see that, like, this is, like, sort of max height. And then when SpongeBob begins descending, not a while after, as soon as he begins descending, then you want to do select, and then you want to hold R and A, and then you can touch the token. So he got it, of course the game is processing, but he got it like roughly by here. Um, and yeah, that's the entire IL, but it's really hard because of those lag clips. There isn't much to it really other than the lag clips, but the lag clips are hard. So, yeah, this is really good, and even though he bled some frames, there isn't really anything you can do. I think it's really, really obvious that 41 is physically impossible. Maybe if we could get some random tech or something in 2038, but as for now, with current knowledge, there is, like, literally zero chance. I'd bet basically any money that this is impossible to get 41. Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention why we use seconds and not also milliseconds. This game has, like, load variance and stuff, and it's already an issue, but it would be even worse with milliseconds. And it also affects cutscene loads and transitions in the menu to loads and how hard the game lags. It would just be even worse. And it's to be consistent with the sliding and driving ILs, which actually do use seconds for a actually completely valid reason that I can't be bothered to explain. So it's for consistency and to basically limit pay to win as much as possible. Because, like, for example, here, you could have a terrible Xbox, and as long as it doesn't lag really slowly, then you can match this, you can get a 42. And there's even a little bit of leniency. So, yeah, that's that. Oh, one thing I actually do want to do is, show you the extensions, like, just what it looks like, as you can see here, you can see who the world record holders are. I do have a lot of them, but I didn't go for a sweep, and the ones I'm missing are no cheese, all tokens are 100%, and 3k all extras. I'm thinking of going for 3k all extras. I'm not sure about the other two, but yeah, I do have most of them. I can probably go into more detail about that later. So that was no cheese, and again, that's the oldest world record, so congrats to Jackalacka on that one. Although it is also, again, held by Oofster and then Vaz, and then Bottle Hippie. With obviously Bottle Hippie's being the most recent. This next one is all extras. No cheese, all extras. Held by Oofster, me, Vaz, Bottle Hippie, and Sandman Fan. When I say it like that, it's always from who got it, the oldest one to the most recent one. So this was set on May 24th, 2021. And there isn't really a lot to this one because there's only one extra in the level. He's wiggling a teeny bit, but no, you know. I don't agree. A lot of people spin there. I do not agree with spinning there. Because, like, the way that I see it, like, when you double jump here, the rock pushes you down anyway. I do not think it's faster to spin here, but it hasn't actually been proven. So this is a very, very hard trick called truck skip. It's really hard. It's only done in full game runs because it's just like, you know, it's like the first thing you do. So it's pretty precise, you know, pretty precise jumps and stuff. And he did fuck it up a little bit. But the actual, you gotta double jump here, and it's pretty hard, right? And because of load variance with the cutscene, if the cutscene takes too long to load, like, how long it takes to load depends on, like, then determines, like, how difficult it actually is. And if it takes too long to load, you just straight up cannot get through the tree anyway. If you got it fast, you'll be past the tree after you skip the cutscene. But again, there's variance, so the trick is already hard, and then this just makes it, like, 3 times worse. But of course, in an IL, it's like, who gives a fuck, so you just react quickly. And again, there is a bit of variance with just, like, how long, like, the thingy takes to load. But other than that, you can use, like, the slowest Xbox ever, and as long as the cutscene loads normally, like, you'll be fine. And then there is this trick. You build up a little bit of speed against the wall, and then just before you lose coyote frames, or rather, I think, yeah, before you lose coyote frames, you jump to the extra, and that's basically the run. What I will say, you can build up more speed here, like if you're looking at my cursor, you can build up speed like here and still get a 31 because my 31 did that. That being said, I do not think that 30 is possible because Oof still only made a few mistakes. If you did like a task of this, it'd probably be like 30.2 or 3. I mean a 31.2 or 3. This one's got to be closer to 30 than all tokens no cheeses, but I still don't think it's possible. Very short, Usta barely fucked up, and like, yeah, and even then it's a pain in the ass to get a 31 anyway. But yeah, that's basically the time, so no, I do not think it is possible to beat it. To get a 30. Is that Mountain Dew in the background? I think that's Mountain Dew. And that's a really thick clock for some reason. My room is blue and then white on the ceiling. Kind of interesting. Anyway, now this one's done, and now we have no cheese 100%. This used to do a completely different strat. It was basically like playing through the level normally, except you do like this bash strat after getting the extra. It was a little hard, you know, saved a couple seconds. But no, don't do that anymore. Ever since, oh yeah, this is held by Oofster and then Vaz. I haven't even tried to do this one, I'm not gonna lie, so I don't know how... and I haven't watched it, I've only watched this like once, I don't even know how good it is. So yeah, I guess we shall see now. Also, I think I mentioned this, but the reason why magnetic pickup, well, I didn't mention why it's not allowed. You need 39 extras to even use it. So there are some levels that like would not even be able to use it anyway because they have more than 3 extras, like NTWM. And also, then you'd have to set up like a save file with like nearly everything collected, and that would just be really fucking stupid. It's just no point. And it removes skill because extras magnetized to you, so you can like get them through walls or take worse lines and still grab them and shit like that. So it's stupid basically. Anyway, so now we will be looking at this. You already bled like a frame or two. So this is looking pretty normal right now. I think this is gonna have a normal truck skip. I think the lag clip is like after the getting the extra, but I've only watched it once. I'm actually not sure. So he bowled there, because it's a little fast. I guess you could argue why didn't you do that in all extras? I don't know. We just didn't. But again, I still don't think 30 would be possible. All right, so I believe he gets it. Okay, this is extremely hard. This is even worse than the fucking car and the car and the truck from old tokens. This is really hard. And then you gotta do like tough ceiling swimming and you can barely see what you're doing for a second. And that wasn't perfect. And he got a pretty high 57. So, as for theory crafting, I didn't know when he was going to clip, but I was assuming he was going to clip, like, around here. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I don't know. There is goo underneath where the extra is, so, like, out of bounds, so maybe you can't do that. But I feel like there might be a way to grab this out of bounds. I don't know, but I just feel like that would be the case. But I don't know if it'd be faster. Maybe he's already considered that. So the actual notable thing is that he stood still for a sec. I'm unsure. I mean, that was still pretty good. Because I assumed there was an invisible wall there. So yeah, that was... Yeah, okay, this one is probably the most likely to get 56 of the 3, but I still think it probably is impossible. I just now see that Oof's thing says tied world record, which makes me think that the oldest world record is not done first. Let's see. His was done on June 19th, 2021. And Vaza's was done on June 20th, 2021. Okay, so I think it is... Okay, so I don't know what that's about. Let me check to see if Vaz did a different route, by the way. Just really quick. No, he did the same one. I still feel like there's probably a way to, like, optimize this more. Like, starting from out of bounds from the get-go, or just, I don't know, something. But I could very well be wrong, so... Yeah. This one's probably the most improvable, but... I'm not positive on that. And now we can finally move to Depression. Which is held by me. And I actually did quite a sweep recently. I already had a lot of them anyway, but I did a sweep recently. Because if I was going to make this video, I wanted the times to, like, actually be good. I got lazy with a couple of them, but a lot of them are just, like, good enough to where nobody would really try to beat them. This is when we finally stop getting, like... objectively, like... That's the wrong word to use. This is when we stop having... For the entire rest of the video, all of these now can be improved by some amount. I don't know if that's, like, a spoiler or not, but... It's true. Without even factoring, like, fast loads or anything, like, they're all improvable by some amount. It's just that, like, when you get to these levels, like, your movement matters even more, and, like, a lot of people just can't be bothered for, like, the resetting. This is when it get, you know, because with no cheese, if you fuck it up, you can literally just, like, reload the level. This is, like, when you get to this point, it's kind of like where... like, that, you know, you're more likely to have to reset because you collected an extra or something like that. But for now, we're on no cheese all tokens. So, world record is 456 by me, and I got it on the 29th of May. For reference, it is the 2nd of June right now, 2023. And, this was set in 2023. So... again, time started on first input. You can tell, when first input is with these levels, by the way, because, the frame you press starts, like, objects disappear, so, like, time starts here. So, yeah, so immediately, like, this also has, like, a route to it, too, so immediately we just book it to guitar. Now, in this category, guitar actually doesn't matter how fast you do it. Of course, you're, like, cutting the corners, but it actually literally does not matter as long as you're not very bad at it. So as long as you don't fuck up the movement really bad, like, to guitar and actually doing guitar, then this movement literally just doesn't matter. What does matter is this guitar glide clip. So this is different from normal, from what we saw earlier. So you do a wall jump, and then when you wall jump to the other side, you press guitar, and only very shortly after pressing guitar, you then do select. Again, it's not super immediate or anything. You gotta get a little bit of a feel for it. But then you just clip through, and then you'll push to the left, or, like, just whatever direction you wall jumped in. So then you gotta spin so that you know, you can actually guide SpongeBob. So again, like, how, like, you know, I turned around a little bit there. I didn't do that perfectly, but again, it literally doesn't matter. And then, this doesn't matter until we get to the marshmallow. This is the cycle that we're going for. I don't think it's possible to clip on the left one. I think you need to do the right one. So, when you're on this, the way that you clip above the chocolate, when you land on the marshmallow, you hold R. Right? However, we don't actually have a statistic on this, but I would roughly estimate there is about a 30-ish% chance that when you do this, you'll clip into the marshmallow and the IL is automatically over. And that's a pain in the ass because you gotta do guitar again. So yeah, that sucks. But if it went well, then you can just grab the token. And this is when it starts to be different. So I'm buffering this token instead of two-framing it. So, as you probably know, when you walk up to a token, when you press start while walking up to a token, the game advances 1 frame. There is a 2-frame window, although you can't tell if you got it by the 2-frame. So, but there is a 2-frame window where you grab the token, skip the animation, and warp away. You know if you got it if it's the 1 frame, but if it's the 2 frame, you don't know until after the load. 2 frames are generally avoided in full game runs because they're very risky. Here, it's literally just a thing of I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered to do the 1 and 3 and then, like, grab that quickly. I literally just could not be bothered. But I will say that this one is quite a beefy time loss. I just knew that nobody would try to beat this, so I just didn't care to, I just wanted it to be good enough. But this is actually realistic because the 2 frame isn't horrible here, and it's literally just like a waiting room because what you do beforehand is not difficult. So other than the 1 and 3, I mean, there's no real difficulty to what you do for like 1:40, so... what speed do I have this at? Okay. Let's try and calculate how much this lost. I would say I could have grabbed it if I reacted perfectly, like, by now. 1. Was that 1 second? I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's like a little over a second. I don't know how much exactly, so let's just say 1 1/4. The menuing look fine. Now, combats are where it gets really tricky. There is a lot of RNG involved, and you'll just never do it perfectly. Enemies will spawn, and you can't see them spawning, and, like, you'll just barely not catch something out of the ball range. You will never, ever play perfectly, so now we gotta talk realism. So already, I can be ahead by, like, a second. I'm not gonna look through my depression golds and just figure out, like, oh, what's, like, the best combat I ever got or whatever. I'm not doing that. There is a technique to bowling, to kill these enemies. Going in the middle is, like, the fastest thing that you can do. The upgraded bowl has a massive shockwave. And, if you do it correctly, you can knock enemies into other enemies as well. With these peanut guys, if you only catch them by, the shockwave itself, it only does 1 damage to them. And they have 2 health. Upgraded spin will kill them in 1 hit, but still, like, so sometimes it's better to, but, so, as you can see, I mean, I cleared through that pretty quickly. I saw that spawned in the corner of my eye, but I didn't know exactly where it was gonna go. Fun fact, actually, this, combats are objectively harder if, you're playing on, like, a small, like, CRT or whatever that, like, cuts off the corners, like, curved CRTs. Fun fact with CRTs, if it's a flat screen, it actually has a chance to have input delay, but curved, I believe, never has input delay unless your own setup adds input delay. However, curved CRTs usually, like, cut the corners, and in a way where, like, you just can't see the corners, in this game. And that makes it harder to see when enemies spawned in these combat arenas. So you're objectively at a disadvantage if you, Also, 360 has faster loads, by the way. If you have a good 360. But again, I'm not really looking into... And also, I would have had to have done a slower guitar glide, so it would have roughly broke even anyway, probably. Maybe 360 being a tiny bit faster, but yeah. It probably would have been faster to spin the Gooba guy there, the peanut guy. Again, it's so hard to, like, do this properly for, like, over 2 minutes. That feels kind of BS. I didn't hit him, I'm not gonna lie. Again, if you could react perfectly, you could probably do this like fucking 10, 15 seconds faster if you're fucking Tess, but... something I'm not using at all, by the way, is Guitar. Guitar has a massive hitbox too, but it has worse knockback, and you have to stand completely still, which is why I don't particularly care for it in Depression Combat. I don't know which one is, like, theoretically faster. Maybe Guitar? I think it would be a mix of Guitar and Ball, but I feel like RTA, you almost never want a Guitar here, I feel like. I feel like it's almost never advantageous. So as you can see, I try to predict it, but I fucked up. He nearly hit me. If an enemy hits you in a combat, all the alive enemies will, like, stop moving and laugh at you. That actually loses quite a lot, because then they're not moving towards you. As you can see, this is pretty decent so far. If the frame rate looks slightly choppy, by the way, I use, like, the Windows cropping thing to save time and energy and shit. Especially because, like, the settings I export at in Premiere, like, make the file sizes even bigger. Like, this reduces file sizes a lot because it makes it 30 FPS and just does a little bit of bitrate conversion shit. But for some reason, it makes it 30 FPS. So that was pretty good for, like, you know... 244 is actually quite good. I think my fastest ever is, like, 241 or something. So if you technically wanted to base it off that, then I lost like 3 seconds, but in theory I lost a lot more. But if we're talking realistically, yeah. Well, I say realistically, but if you played super good, at least like 2 seconds, but let's say like 3. Let's say it's pretty obvious I lost 3 anyway. This buffer is like somewhere between a quarter to a third of a second to do. I just didn't want to choke. So this one and Creek added on. Buffers probably maybe add up to 2 seconds, maybe? Yeah, I'd say it adds up to 2 seconds. And then you just load in. It might be faster to cartwheel. I didn't want to risk it because, if you cartwheel for too long, you would literally just go over the token. But I think I could have touched that a small handful of frames earlier. So 3 seconds from combat, 2 seconds from buffers, and some frames here, but I don't think that would have added to the next second, maybe. I mean, again, it depends on combat and loads. But not factoring loads, this could, I reckon, if you got a really good run, this could go down to... Yeah, if it's like a god run, it could go down to like 49, but it need to be, like, without faster loads, but it need to be, like, extremely good. So maybe slightly faster loads, plus, like... Yeah, I would say slightly faster loads, because my loads are average. You could definitely find slightly better loads than mine. And no buffers, and really good combat. I say 4x is definitely possible. Not even theoretically. I think it's quote-unquote... You know, considering it's an IL... You know, you gotta be more harsh. I would say 4x is possible, but it may potentially never be done with current knowledge. If we could get a better understanding on, like, where enemies spawn and, like, how they spawn. The faster you kill enemies, the faster more enemies spawn, but, like, I don't mean, you know, there's gonna be a lot of RNG no matter what, but, like, you know, if this is, like, some sort of way that we could sort of figure it out, I guess, that would be enormous. But for current knowledge, the max of this would go is 4x. But I'd say, realistically, more like 453 or something. Or 452. So this is pretty good. But, yeah. So, the next one is all extras, which is completely different, and for some reason, I didn't... Wow, this is cropped, like, really horribly. Okay, there's just one attempt, though. So, this is a tied world record, but... So, it's by Darth, me, Anoofsta, and Sandman Fan. However, I'm using mine because Darth used a Twitch VOD. Darth got 59.51, and I got 59.9, so mine is worse. Mine and Darth's lows are about identical, roughly. So mine is worse than Darth's, but there is, like, a little bit of leniency. Oh yeah, Darth's was done on March 3rd, 2021. And mine was done on March 4th, 2021. So the way that the IL starts is just by warping the guitar and do a movement here. My movement was fine. Then you do a guitar glide, but not a guitar glide clip. So you press R, like, just before, like, you would land on, like, the, go into a wall jump state. And then you spin in this direction. And then you need to be a little careful here. If I spun one extra time, I definitely would have got fucked. If you land on the ground while you're spinning, SpongeBob will, like, be in this weird state, basically, and you have to jump out of it. So, it may not look like it, but waiting for him to descend was the fastest thing for me to do. However, in theory, I could have made this slightly faster by doing a slightly less optimal wall jump so that I could land on the ground, like, ASAP, but that would have only saved, like, not even half a second, probably. Now, this is really hard and precise, but what you do, you bowl this in, like, the right way, and then you bowl these. And then, if you did it correctly, which is very hard, this will spawn, and then you spawn here, and you just pick up the extra. You can 2-frame extras, by the way, but that's super risky. I did it here, but I don't know if it's a 1-frame or the 2-frame. But yeah, you can do that. And then all that's left is warping the creek, and then cartwheeling and grabbing this extra. This is a little hard, but not that bad. You just jump down, and then you jump on the door as it's descending. And then you can grab it like that. I feel like it would have been slightly faster to cartwheel, do a small hop, and then cartwheel again. I feel like that would have saved frames. Also, by the way, with tokens and extras, you can technically end time on getting a 2-frame, but you would need to prove... Like, you would need to prove after time ends that it was the 2-frame, and nobody would risk that, especially because it saves so little. But yeah, my time is quite bad compared to Darth's. But it doesn't matter because I got the same second. So, is it possible to get 58? I would say... I'd say it's probably... If you had, like, really good B drive loads or 360 loads, then yeah, obviously it's possible. 58, but if you play really good. But I think it might just be possible anyway, but it's hard to say for sure. This one's more possible than no cheese all tokens and no cheese all extras, at least. So is it possible? I'm gonna say probably. The only one that's like but again, without fast loads. The only one that's like definitely possible to beat so far is depression all tokens, but that you're gonna, yeah. So I'm surprised I'm 38 minutes in, but there's like less to explain at this point. Next up is depression 100%. And I remember this being improvable, but I didn't care because I got 559. I got this on the 25th of May. So, warp the guitar. And this actually does matter, by the way, because the marshmallow clip is not fast. Because the extra gets in the way. I have, like, theorized some stuff, but it just never works out. So, yeah. There is a strat here that you could do, but I don't actually... like, you could do it. Basically, you could jump on this sign, and jump, spin, jump, and then you, like, barely catch a ledge here, and, jump up. And that actually would save quite a bit. It would save, like, maybe 2 seconds. But that's assuming that you're on a perfect cycle anyway. It needs to be, like, peak height, and even then it's extremely hard. So, I don't know if you'd be on the cycle, but if we assume that you wouldn't be, it'd still save, like, a second. So let's assume worst case scenario, so that's down to... Nobody does it, because it's, like, the actual worst thing on Earth. Now, this actually does matter how well you do this, but there's only... you can only do this so well. As you can see, I'm cutting the corners quite well, but obviously it's not going to be done perfectly. But I'm still going to do it pretty well. And there are going to be some times where taking a slightly unoptimal line, like, doesn't really matter. But I'd say I could have definitely improved that by frames. And now we need to do the guitar thingy. It had to be done like that, by the way. Now, that wasn't too bad, but I definitely lost, like, frames. And then doing this again, and yeah, so I lost, like, a second and a half from that, I would imagine, maybe even more, a second and a half to 2 seconds. So now I'm down, like, 2.5 seconds. Yeah, so I don't know if this is the case, but my idea here was that because I wanted a cartwheel after, because otherwise, if you cartwheel, like, Patrick goes forward a lot, even if you just don't even move the stick, so this probably was optimal. And then you turn the corner, and then you go off that ice cube optimally, and then you slam this guy. These will be slightly RNG dependent, and I probably could have gone slightly further away here, but I probably only lost, like, frames. And then I was on a bad, well, not really a bad, like, because I went too fast, I was on a weird cycle. Oh, I forgot I ledge grabbed. That's 2 seconds lost immediately. So now I'm, like, plus... What was it again? I'm, like, plus maybe even, like, 5.5 off of, like, playing perfect. Some of the, like, again, with some enemies here, it doesn't really matter that much, like, how fast you kill them. Because of, like, how long it sometimes takes anyway to spawn them. It's, like, a bunch of RNG shit, so it's kind of hard to, like, properly estimate how much I lost. But, like, that clearly lost time, but I don't know how much I actually lost. Probably not as much as it looked. Okay, I just got, like, 2 bad bowls in a row. That was, yeah, and I shouldn't have bowled there. Definitely lost time. I'm just speeding this up because I didn't think I'd be 40 minutes in, like, only this far in. Let me just make sure that the music is still going. Yep, it is, so... I got hit there, so that lost, like, at least a second, and I should have bowled the peanut guy there. But again, because RNG stuff, a lot of the stuff probably doesn't matter as much as it looks. But I got hit again. Wow, this IL actually kind of sucks. I didn't realize how bad it was. I probably lost, like... Actually, let's look at the... I actually got about the same as the old tokens one. That's fucking scary. It must have been, like, RNG stuff. So, like, 3 seconds again. And the buffer... Again, okay, so this is actually hard to gauge, but I would say I maybe lost the whole thing again without going super duper overkill. I lost, like, 8 seconds, maybe. 8 to 9. But I would say, like, 4x is definitely possible. So this run is, like, okay, but yeah. Alright, moving on, because we are 43 minutes in. So now is 3k all tokens. And I did not bother improving this one recently because I tried to and I somehow lost to it by like 2 seconds and I didn't understand how. But this one is not perfect either. There's 359 and I got it on March 22nd, 2021. So now finally some different scenery without a combat. So now I'm just warping to bounce to do bounceless. There is a full frame window to do bounceless, so technically... This feels like slow-mo. No, I'm just stupid. So... Bounceless has a full frame window, so you technically want to do her on frame 4. But, I think this is frame 1, even. So I lost, like, 3 frames. I think this... Actually, no, never mind. I was about to say something untrue. I think I will... That was pretty fast. Probably not perfect, but I can't, like, visibly see anything wrong with it. I buffered that, lost like a third of a second. Lost like over a second there, so now we're like at least plus a second and a half, I would say. And now he has steamed. There is only so much you can do here. I could have gone like I do this these days, but you can jump like here, and it goes from free to easy, but if you fuck it up, like you could kill a run. But that saves like a little bit. I went for that 2-frame and missed it, but that only loses like 2 seconds maybe. However, then I don't know, like, because then it changes the cycle for the end of this, so I'm not actually sure how much I lost. We'll see now. I also don't agree with this. Yeah, okay, so here's what, okay. So, what I did I think it was to combat, like, a bad cycle. I 2-framed this token and ended time on a different token, but I feel like it might be faster to end time here. If you can get... So, if you bash the final button close enough to where the token spawns, it'll kind of, like, teleport you to it, but that didn't happen to me. That would be fastest, but I don't know if you can do it with this cycle. It'd have to be looked into, so because I don't actually know, I'll just say no for now. So I lost, like, 2 seconds and then a second from the... Yeah, so... I'm like plus 3.5 and then this, so now I'm like plus 4 point something. And when you factor frames and stuff, and, you know, it's probably more like 5 seconds. This is cycle-based, and I got the fast cycle, so don't need to worry about the first part of it. You can't go any faster. And then the ending... These SpongeBob tokens are never worth buffering, by the way. I got the car wheel buffer. Sometimes your input gets eaten, so you lose half a second for no reason. I used unupgraded cheats here, by the way, because Bounceless is slower with upgraded Bash. We'll see that come into play later. So this, of course, isn't going to be done perfectly. If you want to get as much mileage out of Patrick as possible, you cartwheel for as long as you possibly can. So you risk ledge grabbing on literally every single block if you do that, and that's obviously just unrealistic. That was slightly slow, but not that bad. I'm still more willing to say, like, +6. Yeah, I would say, like, +6. So I got 350. So I'd say 353 is possible. If you play, like, absolutely perfect and had, like, B-drive loads and shit, then maybe 4x, but that'd be, like, perfect, unrealistic. I'd say, like, 55 to 53 is, like, actually doable. And I'd say even, like, 56, full 56 is very realistic. If you just, you know, play pretty good. Next up is 3K All Extras. And spoilers, this will be the last world record that I don't have. Bottle has, like, slightly faster loads than me, and this IL is absolutely abysmal. So, I do want to get one flat one day, but fucking hell, dude, I've tried. So, he got it on December 18th, 2021. He played on 360, so his loads are a little faster. And I believe if you converted it to OG loads, he just, like, wouldn't have gone it. I believe he got the car wheel buffer. I think it technically doesn't matter which one you do first. But because, like, the other stuff is, like, AIDS, I'd rather, you know... This is really hard to do fast. Because if you go too fast, the block will descend, then you'll be further away from the thingy, and if you're too slow, then you'll ledge grab. This is a massive pain in the ass. Lost a small handful of frames there. And now this is pretty hard. If you guitar... Now, this is really hard, but if you guitar in the exact spot, You can destroy these boxes, and the extra spawn, and the extra will come to you. Again, it's really, really, really hard and precise. And then, if you get a bash boost off of the goo and get up here, then you can backtrack. Wow, okay, I'm a little jealous of how good that was. A lot of the time you'll fucking slip and slide around, but he, like, actually did it really good. That wasn't perfect, but that was, like, basically as good as you could realistically ask for. This run is extremely good. I think even, like, perfectly would go, like, even if you played, like, actual fucking human tasks, there's no way 59 is possible. Literally no chance, even on, like, a super... I mean, maybe if you have, like, a perfect load 360, but... you know, this is basically as good as it could possibly be. I bet you could get one flat on OG, but it would need to be, like, practically perfect. Without B drive, so, yeah, this is one of the best ILs on the boards. Moving on. 3K 100% by me. Well, I already, again, they're all by me now. May 27th, 2023. So, for 3K 100%, you want to upgrade a guitar, but not upgrade a bash because of bounceless. And you do lose a little bit of time from that, but you do make it back from, like, it's just slightly faster to not use upgraded bash, which is why this is such a bitch to actually do, because as soon as, like, you spawn in the bungee extra and onwards, as soon as you spawn that in, you have to quit game, reload, and then you gotta go to SCDA or whatever, get Manly's, upgrade guitar, like, it's just trash, dude. So that was, like, the second frame, I think, so I lost, like, 2 frames. I could have had that actually come to me. However, I don't know if that would have saved time. If you do this it's possible to get stuck in the target and lose quite a bit of time. But I just do not know if that would have happened with this cycle. Assuming it wouldn't have, I could have saved, like, half a second. Let's just assume that I could have saved that amount. So now minus half a second. Now that's, you know, lost like a third of a second. I said this wasn't going to be too long. I actually lied, bro. Tiny bit of wiggle, but I did that on purpose to make sure I could, like, actually grab the fucking thing. That was basically because... And so, if you go slow enough, then the block will be close to you here, so you can cartwheel onto it. Again, if you go too fast, like, you're fucked. I've actually just lost runs here. It's really stupid. Again, you're not gonna do this perfectly, but yeah, so right now I'm down, like... I mean, obviously you can get a slightly better floating block, so I'm down like a second compared to, like, playing super good. If you ledge grab these, by the way, you have to get a 1 frame to get out of them, and you don't have enough height to get to the rest. Anyway, so like I said, like... Okay, so I'm doing... I think it would be faster to do Y plus R jumps here. So, you just do select, and then just do Y plus R. I think this would be faster than the bash boost, despite needing to do lag inputs. Because you're already right next to the token. So that's what I think. We haven't actually tested it, though. I spun, but I got stuck. I lost some time. So now I'm like plus a second and a half, maybe. And now, same sort of thing as earlier. And I already know I got the fast cycle, so now it just depends on this movement. Oh, I mismenued. Yeah, I lost, like, over a second. So now I'm, like, plus 2.5, was it? I think. That spin was unnecessary. And that one was... So this is what I was going for. However, I did arena skip. I did the 100% IL before the all tokens IL, and I'm like positive that this route is slower because I did it in all tokens, and then I lost like 2 seconds, even though my PB didn't even 2 frames. So I think this lost like 4 seconds or something. It's hard to say for sure because I didn't have to buffer the token. But either way, I don't know. I mean, this definitely lost like something, but I just don't know how much. And I think it would have been faster to not end time here because of that. But again, I gotta... So I don't know how fast this could be, but of course if you played super well, you get a 2x. So I guess I'll just leave it at that, because I just, you know... But yeah, this is realistically beatable anyway. This is the most realistically beatable out of all of them. Let's just, like, do the ending different, and I'll just save, like, a few seconds. Alright, next is BBBH all tokens. This is where the combat starts to get kind of insane. Got a more leniency with that now. Dude, I'm out of breath. Maybe I should take a break. I don't know. I can't believe I'm only 56 minutes in. I seriously, like, actually cannot believe it. I thought I'd be, like... I thought this would take, like, 2 hours at the absolute most. This is gonna take more than 2 hours. So this was set on May 26, 2023. So time, obviously, I mean, you know when time starts. Oh yeah, I just did, okay, so this is fast corkscrew cycle, it's really hard. Alright, it's like 80 minutes later, I got interrupted, and then I just decided to catch my breath and stuff, and eat. I feel like I still haven't fully recovered, but let's just get back into it. So as I was saying earlier, fast corkscrew, like, it is just a cycle. What matters is how fast you go after fast corkscrew. Well, not really. Like, from this point onwards, now it matters, because then, you know, this. How good was the turn? That was pretty good. I mean, I only can really save a few frames, probably, most. Pretty damn good. And then here's disco skip. Now, you could say buffer. However, I got a ledge grab skip. This ledge grab skip is possible. But to call it, like, without a buffer, but to call it hard would be an understatement. We have only seen a ledge grab unbuffered skip here, ledge grab skip, like, fucking, like, 3 times ever, and, like, that's kind of saying something. I mean, like, you know, this is not very far into the run, and BBBH forwards is in a lot of categories that, like, even in an IL, it would take absolutely forever to get it done. But that is, like, over a second time save technically, but realistically, no. That, you know, I lost, like, half a second there or something. Cartwheel buffers like this are pretty fast. But I still, like, you know, they're still obviously gonna be slow, so I lost, like, at most, like, half a second. Next up is the guitar challenge. If I remember correctly, didn't I... Yeah. I started looking away from the screen when this happened. So I lost over a second, so that's, like, the realistic time save right now. Oh, wait, I shouldn't be, I'll do ×2. This challenge is, like, just under 2 minutes long, I think, including the token animation. I don't know, the timings are really old, so I honestly can't remember. But, yeah. This looks pretty fast, though. So, yeah. I lost, like, you know, the buffer, you know, over a second, you know, but both of them combined, like, maybe 2 seconds, and then, like, a little over a second from that. So, like, you know, +3 and a bit. This could probably be done a tiny bit better, so let's just say like 3.5 at the end of this. That's probably safe. I'm not seeing anything obvious. Just losing like very small amount of frames here and there. Yeah, no, that's probably the fastest way to get, yeah. Now this fight, there's some RNG, see how good this is. Also, you can do a slightly different fight that is, actually, I think it's only faster in runs in BBBH forwards, because here I want to get teleported, but in the other categories I don't. Yeah, okay, it's hard to remember for sure, but there is like a faster way of doing this that's never worth it, because you basically always get bad RNG, but you also end up closer to the button at the top here, but I don't know, it's not really. Yeah, and then I did that, so now it's like +4 maybe. This, a couple days ago, a time save for this area was found. The saves 2 seconds and is quite consistent. It's a little harder, but with the extra, but but yeah. And then as you can see at this point, I golded like everything. And this is where it, like, becomes... Like, Depression Combat, there's at least some sense to the mayhem, but, like, this is just, like, a nightmare. These enemies do die in one spin and one bowl, but they'll no longer die from one shockwave. And also, there are more enemies. I think last time... Wasn't it, like, 30, 30, 40 or something? I can't remember. It might have been 20, 30, 40. This one goes 30, 40, 50. And the spitters are such a nightmare. There's more TNT and stuff. You actually can get a pacer going that's like as fast as Depression Combat quite easily. So okay, so I lost like a couple seconds there. And what I'm doing, the reason why this is so hard is because the spitters aids on wave 2 and only wave 2. So you saw the 2 spinners spawned at the beginning, spitters. If you kill all but one, I say all but one because this will also apply to Naloman combat. If you kill all but one, then they won't keep respawning. But the spinner, you still want the spitter. The spitter takes 2 reflect shots to kill, and it's such an inconvenience to kill them because the spit is so slow and it takes a while to like guitar them. They don't die from one bull shot because you can't directly hit them. You have to hit them with shockwave damage. You want to like kill one spitter and then have the other one hit once, but it's just sometimes and then you have to randomly hit it when there's only a few enemies that can spawn because then it guaranteed won't spawn. And then on this one, there's 4 of them. And you don't want to kill the one in the middle, but he basically always dies because he's in the center of the fucking action. And there's 4 spitters, and they're moving around absolutely fucking everywhere. And, yeah, it's just cringe and AIDS. I bowled there for no reason, but again, like, you gotta have a little more leniency with this, because this shit's ridiculous. I did guitar there, but it probably wasn't worth it. I should have deflected the spit, probably, but now I'm beginning to do it, so it's fine. But, like, this... Okay, well, that was actually really good. So, it's hard to say how much I actually lost, but I think it's pretty clear that if you played extremely well, the 2x is possible. So I guess I'll just leave it at that. The room's still good, but... Yeah. Oh, I just realized earlier, by the way, I said something about, grabbing the extra and throwing fruit. But this is all tokens, so you do not grab the extra. But yeah, still 2 seconds there, so that brings us down to its 7:36. Not buffering stuff, like 7:33, and then, 7:34 maybe. the guitar mistake 733 or 732, and then good combat, like a really good combat, you know. But this is still pretty fast. I mean, all things considered, like, compared to the gold, if I wait for the token and waited for it to fade out like in Depression Combat, this would have been, like, 311? Nah, like 309 or 310. Which is only a little slower than Depression Combat. But, yeah. That's the run, but 2x would be possible, but it'd be extremely hard. But I think a pretty good time here would be like a 734 or something. Alright, next up is BBBH All Extras. And I got this on the May 31st. So I had already done this, and the original world record was by Bottle Hippie. However, like, I think either on the 31st or maybe the day prior, a big time save was found for this category, this IL, and Early Powers All Extras, and it saves a lot. So, Bottle Hippie had the world record, and it was really good, but improvable. And then I came in, and I got I don't know how much it saves, it's over 10 seconds. My time is definitely not as good as his, but it's still like 10 seconds, no, 12, well, 11 point something seconds faster, if I remember correctly. And it's definitely worse than his, minus the time, so it's probably saving like 14, something, I don't know. Anyway, this one's unique, this one doesn't have loads. It used to, but now it doesn't. So we will be seeing why here. So the extra's supposed to be here. This is allowed because, like I said earlier, like convenience and equivalence. It is the most obvious thing in the entire universe that I would have gone. If anything, I purposely went more into the middle, purposely losing some frames, just so there's not even a contest about it. So, you know, at least in the current rule set, that would be allowed, but I mean, if you had a problem with it, this run is not even perfect anyway. But even then, this run, even if it was decided that shouldn't be allowed, this run would get grandfathered anyway, because it fell under the rule set at the time, so it'd be unfair to, yeah. Anyway, now here's a hard strat. It saves like a second. So instead of going around, like okay, so you build up time of speed, but only for a few frames, and then you jump across. But it's really goddamn hard. Well, it's not really hard, but it's hard. You know, for being right at the beginning, like, it's surprisingly hard. And then it's just, like, movement, because this extra involves, like, a lot of movement. The extra's not that slow in all extras, but in the IL, all extras are slow. You need to go into the pit and kill these enemies. Then, okay, so when you go on these trampolines, there is basically no visual cue for it, and it's field-based, but you have a few frame window at some point. As you can see here, this was roughly around the time where I could have jumped. Normally, it'd start really slowing you down after you get a bunch of height, and then it would try and make you land on this platform, this area. But instead, you can go more towards the platform, the breakable platform, and cut your jump short to land on the ground faster so you can cartwheel faster. This saves quite a bit, and again, it's extremely feel-based and basically, like, no real visual cue for it. There is something here, but we'll ignore for now. I didn't do it. Then you just, slam these buttons. So far, this run is as good as it could really be right now. Skip the disco area because no tokens. This guy usually gets in the way, which is a pain in the ass, but it is RNG dependent. It is entirely possible to go a straight line and he never bothers you, but incredibly unlikely. And I only lost like a tiny bit, maybe like 0.2 or something, I don't know. If you are fast enough, okay, so you can technically do this even faster, but it doesn't really matter, it doesn't really lose time in this category. But basically, if you're fast enough, you can kill the spinner before he starts becoming active, so you can insta-kill him. But that made this strat here even harder. The foggers are more likely to get in the way, so I had to stop myself a little bit, and I lost time. Now, there is a horrible strat here. Like, one of the worst in all of the ILs, the platforming ILs. So, you let go of the stick here because a cutscene will play. You let go of the analog stick and you just hold B. And then you'll go in that direction until the cutscene ends. And I was right next to the trampoline. It is insanely precise, but it is possible during the cutscene to touch a very, very specific part of the trampoline. I think roughly with the line, this blue line is here, or purple. Yeah, I think that's more purple than blue. And then you'll start bouncing in the middle of the cutscene, and then if you quickly react after that, which I didn't even do that anyway, so already I lost, like, over half a second anyway. But I also didn't get that, and that saves, like, quite a bit. So I don't know how much I've lost at this point. But maybe up, including maybe tiny parts where I could have had slightly better movement and stuff, maybe like 2 seconds. And that's not everything. But here is the big strat. That got found very recently. So look at it. It's pretty damn cool. So you just build enough speed on this ice cube and then launching yourself to this extra and then dropping down. We used to warp to throwing fruit, do the beginning of it normally, and then do like a damage boost off of like an electrical thing, and then damage boost off it, and then land on the extra. This saves a lot of time. So, however, I didn't buffer. I mean, I did buffer, so I lost like over a second. So now I'm like over +4. And then, if I remember correctly, the rest of this was just good. Yeah, about what I would expect. Yeah, so I lost like 4 seconds, so that brings us down to 218. But there is one more thing, and maybe I should have got a Bottle Hippies run, but it's fine, probably. So there is a strat here in this room where you pick up a TNT, you stand like pretty far away, and then you use upgraded throw, and you throw the TNT at this button, and then it'll bounce off the button, like the collision will, and then it'll land somewhere in the goo in the perfect way to spawn all of the necessary platforms to just cartwheel over to the other side here without even slamming the button to open the door. It'll be like this one, and I think one to like the left, and then one at the end. It is, as far as we're aware, hyper inconsistent, and no real way to make it consistent, and it saves like 3 seconds. So, yeah, so that's like 7 seconds of time save, which brings us down to 215. Which, that means that this IL is actually not that great. However, that strat is horrible. No one's ever gonna not buffer the fucking token, the damage boost. Especially after getting the extra trampoline thing, which, by the way, like, Bottle got it in his, but, like, dude, I mean, nobody's getting a 215. I mean, let me just put it like that. However, sub 220 is not just possible, but as long as you do the TNT strat, as long as you reset until you get it, then it is not that hard outside of that. But it's still a pretty okay run in its own right. Now we get onto a huge one, which is BBBH 100%. This is the longest one, because the extra takes so long to grab, so we can't just warp anywhere we want. We're extremely restricted. So, grabbing that and then warping away, because I worked out that that's most likely the fastest thing to do. This is again, 2 seconds here, so yeah, that's something. But we'll need to see if I even did it perfectly anyway. But yeah, 2 seconds here already. I did not need to jump over that. That was me being a pussy. And there was no need for me to be a pussy, because, like, it's the first token. Also, by the way, the reason why in all these combat ones, well, not all these combat ones, but we end time on combat for BBBH and later on NTWM, because otherwise you'll have to suffer through a fade out and a load, and that's just not fast. In NTWM, all tokens, I think it would. I think that one barely loses time, or I might be mixing up with something else. The reason why it's good in depression though is because you need to warp to that area anyway to grab the bounce token. So the fade out, so all that's being factored in is like the fade out and maybe like 1 second of movement, if that. Probably not even that. So it's better to just, you know, especially because then otherwise you'd have to warp to the second task, and then the fade out and the movement would probably be negated by the menuing anyway. Maybe it's safe frames or something, I don't know, but I don't know, it's got to be roughly even at least. So yeah, I've lost like a little over 2 seconds here already. But to be fair, at the time, like, I only actually lost like a tiny bit. Then it's faster to do this. The reason why I didn't do the strat at the beginning... Actually, wait, hold on. Why didn't I... Huh? I'm a little confused, actually. Yeah, why didn't I do that? I know at the time I was thinking about it, and I concluded that this was the best thing to do. I thought about it several times. And I was like, yeah, no, this is definitely the best way. But I'm thinking about it now, and I'm like, how could that be? Why is it different from all extras? Why would you do this? I guess you can skip the rest of the slam animation. What was I? That might be it. Yeah, so it probably breaks even with going around to that point, maybe. Yeah, I think that's the case. Okay, so I'm just gonna give myself the benefit of the doubt, say it breaks even. So the only thing right now is just like a little over 2 seconds. And then we're gonna see this again, although we'll see how... Okay, I did. If anything, that seemed even more optimal than the all extras one. That was like basically perfect. And I could have done the throw strat here, so now I'm like +5. And now we gotta do disco. Oh wait, no, we do the... Okay, I forgot about this. In Hundo, you can do this. It saves like a second over disco, or maybe breaks even with the buffer, but this also has a tiny bit of RNG, but I got good RNG. Pretty much, I barely have to go out of my way. And I can't 2-frame the token because I need to grab this. I mean, maybe it could have been faster to warp to disco and skip movement stuff. I don't think it would have been, though, because you would have had to... You would skip some movement, but then you'd have to menu over the disco and then go through a load. And then the... it's hard to say. I think that would also, like, break even, maybe. You get a token animation skip, which would negate the loads, but then there's, like, the menuing and stuff. I actually don't know, but because I don't know, I'm just not gonna, you know... So... That, I reacted to it kind of badly, and this, again, the same sort of thing happened. So now I'm down like maybe 6 seconds off of like playing perfectly. Okay, actually no, I'll go into it later. Actually, no, I'll do it now. So, you know that strat I showed earlier? You can do it here, and then, like, you jump up and then start doing throwing through, but, like, early, and the electrical things are disabled. However, that only saves 2.3 without a buffer. So with a buffer, it saved more like a second. And it's extremely hard outside of that anyway, because you have to do a really precise, horrible jump and shit, and it's horrible. So... Yes, you could do it, but it'd be like the worst thing ever. But I guess I'll add it for now, so that's 8 seconds. Um... And then this is just like the same movement, except we'll be going in the sponge ball, and then obviously, you know, I got fast corkscrew. We can just skip forward a little bit. So I got that, and then how good did I react? Yeah, that's pretty good. I lost a few frames probably off of playing like super well, but... And then here's guitar. I mean, you already, you know, we'll just see how good it was. So, +8, I think I am. So that brings us down to 952. And you could say, like, why did I accept a 10 flat? That's too close to the next minute mark. Dude, I golded everything except for combat. Like, I just didn't want to deal with it. I just wanted to, and even now, I just would have gone there because the throwing through thing is just like only a tiny bit harder, and it's the first thing I do. So, yeah, basically, yeah. And then we're gonna do the same end level token stuff again. Yeah, looking good. And then the buffer. Okay. So, again, I'm like +8 at this point. I might need to take another break, by the way, in a bit. I mean, now that really affects you. That was like a, you know, maybe lost like a second or two. Yeah, so now I'm trying to, like, manage spitters. I already hit that guy once, so I gotta make sure I don't hit him again until there's only a few enemies left that can spawn. Even if there's, like, 8 left or something, I'm pretty sure he can still spawn. I don't know what the exact number is for where he stops respawning, but I usually do it around, like, 5 or lower. That sort of time. See, like, there, like, that was, like, perfect, basically, but I did lose a couple seconds at the end there. I probably could have bowled a little sooner, but again, I don't actually know how much I lost because RNG stuff spawning. And now I got 4 fucking spinners on my ass. Spitters, not spinners. Guitared there, and it wasn't worth it. Guitaring, again, the guitar in here is usually not worth it. It's like, you know, hardly ever worth it in Depression combat. Only rarely worth it here, but still a little more worth it. And then now the main combats where it's actually, like, somewhat consistently useful to use at least, like, a couple times. Wow, okay, that was a little off, yeah. No, this combat's not. Dude, apparently that was better than the old tokens one. I seriously don't see how. Sub 950 is definitely possible, but it would require quite a good run. Without doing, like, the overkill stuff, you know, just throwing fruit and getting, like, a really good combat. You could probably get, like, 955. Or, like, 953 or something. But yeah, no, 94X is definitely possible. It would just be horrible. I got this on May 31st, by the way. Alright, next up is Now That We're Men. And these were the last levels that I did because I didn't want to do Now That We're in Combat. So, we have, May 31st for this one, 442 all tokens. So the first thing I do, and this isn't worth showing because it's cycle-based, and then you basically get a damage boost. I did a buffer, and you could say that's pretty lazy. This is one of those situations. There's a countdown, 3, 2, 1, go, but if you're doing float and block skip, if you miss the 1 frame, you're allowed to reset here without the countdown, so you don't have to quit game and, like, do cheats again. Because you get the exact same cycle anyway. So I was just really lazy, admittedly. This token is only worth 2 framing if you literally don't slow down whatsoever, and then I think it saves like half a second. So yeah, I'm already down like probably nearly 2 seconds or something compared to like playing perfect. Okay, well okay, so now it's definitely 2 seconds. Okay, so you can either do this as Patrick or SpongeBob, and if you do them both like as perfectly as possible, they both like roughly break even. But I think this one is a little more likely to get it like done perfectly. However, I didn't do a damage boost strat here that saves like over a second, I think it is. And I didn't do another time save. In fact, I even just lost frames there. So now I'm down like for over 3 seconds. I don't remember if it's possible to get the ledge grab, but I did buff for that one. I didn't need to, so... Dude, I don't even know right now. I'm like +6 or something. I don't even know. Now I'll be like +7. You can do a strat here where you bowl as soon as you enter Bungee. It's kind of hard, but it saves 1.5 seconds. I didn't do it. You physically can't do it in no pulse storage for a reason I can't be asked to explain. So I just kind of dropped it after because I was grinding all extras, and then I learned the strat, and then it turns out you can't even, like, actually do it. So, well, you theoretically could, but at best it saved, like, half a second, and because, you know, trick's kind of hot anyway, like, no fucking chance I was accepting that, so... Anyway, yeah, it says, like, 1.5. So now I don't even know anymore. Down decent amount. Now, this is the first instance in Now the Man combat. These enemies die to 2 upgraded spins, and the poppers are an absolute nightmare. It is, like, physically impossible, almost, to do this fast and not get hit. It's kind of fast to get hit sometimes, in the sense that it would take so long to dodge the attacks, where you're not, to the point where you're not attacking, and, like, you'll probably just get hit anyway. These foggers are really fast, and they burp in your face extremely quickly. So even though guitaring is good here, it's also bad at the same time. So you know, this is where I'm going to be the most lenient, because, like, this shit is just unbelievably unfair. It is one of the most unfair things I've ever seen in a kid's game in my life. Ironically, only really, in my head, beaten out by another fucking token in this game, Rockside Macho. But even this one is really hard, even if you try to cheese it in any way, it's still really hard, that's the issue. At least with Rockside Macho, if you know speedrun strats, and some of them aren't hard, then you can easily beat the time challenge, but this is hard no matter what. So, yeah, but casually, Rockside is Rockside Macho is literally the most unfair thing I've ever seen in a kid's game, like, no exaggeration. Guitar can, destroy Merv shots, Papa shots, by the way. So like I said before, and this applies to Wave 2 and Wave 3, but doesn't apply to, BBBH Combat Wave 3. Again, if you leave one Papa, then they won't respawn, but it applies to Wave 3 here too. So, but you still want to hit him once, especially because then he'll spawn, like, slightly further away. Although I didn't do that, I think, but you know, yeah, I lost a few seconds. And then here, what I do, I bowl this guy immediately. I just get these guys out of the way. And now there's a Merv in the middle, and he has Seeking Missiles, because this is the most unfair fucking thing ever. Killed him. You, definitely want to hit the popper in the back here. I've learned, like, you want to hit him at once anyway, but then I've very recently realized, like, you want to hit him, like, early once. The only issue is if a bull shot, like, accidentally hits him or something, or if you deflect too many of his shots, he'll die, and then they'll respawn, and you just guarantee lose a bunch of time. That didn't happen to me. But yeah, then you do this, basically. We keep kind of doing, like, you know, the Merv deflects bull shots because objectively unfair enemy. So you just, like, you know, trying to, like, go in front of, like, foggers to deflect repel shots and stuff like that. Yeah, I lost, like, several seconds. However, this was actually still a really good combat. Like, if this was in, like, old tokens, like, the actual category old tokens, this would have been like very close to gold. You just can't play like perfectly here. Like, I'm not exaggerating. It is like actually impossible, I would say, because of just how much goes on. Like, that might sound not impossible, but like this shit is something out of it that would be in like fucking BFB Second Strike. The literal Kaizo hack. This is the type of shit that you see in like downtown. Like, what do you mean you're not gonna get hit? What do you mean you're like gonna not get hit and not get hit fast? That's like basically impossible to do for 3 minutes. This was actually really fast by my standards, but obviously, in theory, this could be about as fast as Depression Combat. The reason why is because peanut guys are pretty annoying with like, you know, like the enemies spawn closer together and they move towards you faster in this level compared to the other 2 combat arenas, which is why in a TAS, this would probably be about as fast as, especially because Papas stay still as well, and you can just hit them in the background. Like, this probably is about as fast, if not maybe even a tiny bit faster than Depression Combat, but you'll never actually do it. So, in theory, like a full 2x would be possible, but now I'm just saying, like, this was actually kind of good, and I would say that, yeah, and to show how much better we've gotten at combats, my previous world record here was from like it was from early, it was like March 2020. Do you see how I'm minus a minute 9? I saved a minute 9 on the combat. Yeah, that should really say it all. So, yeah. Like, we've gone a lot better. So 3x is realistically possible, I guess, but I really don't care for it. I literally don't think anyone will try to beat it ever, so... Nobody even tried to beat the other one, and it was a fucking, like, 550. So yeah, now we have NTWM all extras, and this was also on the 31st of March. This one was kind of a pain in the ass, and there's actually a lot that goes into this one. So, I don't know for sure. Okay, so one thing that you could do is bowl off the rock, and then the bowl travels over here. If you get an extremely precise angle, it can probably be very slightly faster than this. But it's hard to say for sure, so I guess I won't count it. But even if you could, it'd probably be like at most like half a second anyway. So now you have to do NTWM forwards because we don't do combat in this category. There's an extra like very close to combat, but it's faster to grab it from the beginning. In the actual category all extras, you actually go backwards for the extra. But here, because that would like add a load, it's, you know, it's just better to... And anyway, then you get a damage boost off here. I've tried getting a damage boost like off of, you know, landing like with the extras, but like I just can't seem to do it. If it's possible, it's like only barely possible, so I have to assume it's not possible because it hasn't been proven possible. Then you guitar this, and then an extra spawns, and you grab it. Now here's a pretty hard thing, and I don't think I got it. No, I didn't. When Hans grabs you, if you press start on the right frame, it is a 1 frame. Like around here, you can open the menu early. So I lost like 3 seconds, I think. Yeah, it's like 3 seconds. So I'm already down like 3 seconds. There's a cycle here. You don't really need to see it because I made the cycle. It is possible to go a little faster than it, but I've only ever done it like once, but I guess you could save a couple seconds in theory, but you don't really need to see it because I just made a standard cycle. So now I'm like +5 in theory. And then the ending, you just, well, you just grab that and then warp away. Now, this is a very, 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 very hard strat. We have a consistent setup for it, but I was going for this whenever I didn't get the 1 frame with Hans. This is called, like, Monster Bash or, like, Lava Bash. Yeah, you can call it a lot of things. But basically, you hit this, your visual cue is standing in front of the flower. You bash out of it, bash boost, and then you can barely touch the extra. This is really, 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 really hard. Like, the consistent setup is ledge grabbing, turn in the camera so that, well, yeah, so turn in the camera, then going forward, then bowling the spawner, and then having a few seconds of prep. However, that loses quite a few seconds, so I did this instead. The reason why you want the camera facing the other way and not this way, ideally, is because, that way you don't have to spend time turning around, because when you turn, you lose a little bit of speed, which makes this even harder. However, if you turn the camera so that SpongeBob is exactly... so that, you know, SpongeBob is facing the camera, your view is completely blocked by the spawner, because of course it is. So, this is the most consistent thing you could do. And yeah, it's really hard. It's extremely hard. So, yeah, so +3 from Hans, +2 from a cycle, and that's basically it. So yeah, I lost like 5 seconds. The cycle thing isn't very consistent though, but the Hans thing is, so I would say more that 2:39 is realistically possible enough, especially for only a sub 3-minute IL. I would say the 3x is definitely, like, definitely possible, realistically. But anything beyond that would be super overkill. Like, the Area 1 movement is easy, so you're just waiting for the 1 frame. The cycle that I got is quite easy, but, you know, things can go wrong. And so it's just a waiting room for the 1 frame pause and this very hard extra strat. So I'm still pretty proud of this IL anyway. Also, the attempt counts might seem low, but I made these splits new. I used to always, like, delete my splits. Okay, so in actual categories, I always try to make my attempt count as accurate as it can be. It's bound to be off by some amount, but I do try my best. If I accidentally start the splits, I'll, like, you know, remove an attempt and stuff like that. I've probably been wrong a few times, but again, like, I make it as accurate as I can, realistically. Here, with the ILs, I didn't care about them enough to do that, so now, only now... You know, it's better to start now. I don't have a lot of attempts in any of these ILs, anyway. This one probably, including all the previous attempts, it probably has, like, 11 or something. Which, by the way, I should have said this way earlier, but, all extras ILs were added back in, like, 2020 or 2021. I think it was 2020. So they are significantly more recent. And, yeah, that's basically it. They're significantly more recent, so they have not as much history to them. So yeah. But I'm still pretty proud of this run, but I can't get 239. I don't really plan to go for it, though. Alright, next up, and this run has not been verified yet, because I submitted it a few hours ago, and then very shortly after I started recording this video. This is a 702, again, for Nalaman Combat. The old world record was 821. So I got this literally today, so the 2nd of June. This is probably my worst IL. Probably. So again, the same thing as before here, except you actually just warp away, go to combat. Gonna get the same cycle as before, so +2. And then, this actually does matter, so I lost a few frames there. And then... Dude, this looks like slow-mo. This actually looks like 75% speed, even though it's... because I've just been speeding up so much. I should probably increase it to 1.25. Grabbing the token from up above, like, 2 framing would be really stupid, so again, like, only half a second, so... +2.5. Didn't really react to that perfectly, but maybe, like, +3 now. Didn't do, the damage boost thing and some of the thingy, so now I'm, like... +5, maybe? But yeah, again, this is probably my worst one. So what happened? I got really lazy. Because I really just want to make this video. You're supposed to, like, buffer that token, but I didn't get the opportunity, and then I didn't know what to do, so I thought it'd be faster to drown. But looking back at it, it definitely would have been faster to warp to monster even after that, so I just lost a few seconds there. And then, because I also couldn't be bothered, because this is further in than the All Xers IL, I just decided to do the actual safe setup. So now, dude, I'm literally down, like, I don't even know. But if it's, you know, it's pretty obvious that, like, because obviously, you know, my combat's not gonna be perfect either. I think it was worse than my all tokens one. And then this happens, like, and again with a 1.5, it's pretty obvious that 4x is possible, 6 4x. But even 5x would be very realistic. I'd say even, like, maybe low 6 4x, like 643 or something. If it's, like, absolutely perfect. But yeah, no, 4x is clearly possible. Not gonna spend too long on this because I'm not really that proud of this one. I really should have gone further, but I really just wanted to talk about the ILs and stuff. And that is why guitaring here is sometimes not worth it. It's usually only worth it when poppers and moves are hitting you, but I thought it'd be a good idea there and it wasn't. But I didn't lose that much. You can wave 1, if you do it perfectly, is about as fast as the other two. Because, again, it'll just be bowling the enemies, just the same as always. And because these enemies are even faster, it can be even faster. Well, yeah, no, it could be, like, a very tiny bit faster if it's done, like, perfectly compared to the other two. But as you can imagine, like... Again, you have to accept a bunch of lenient... If you actually did this perfectly, like TAS, and everything else was like TAS, then you could get, like, 3x. But you're just not going to. So far, this has been a good combat. Although I think wave 3 was my worst wave. So I already deflected some nerve shots. Got hit there because my name's Jeff. I'm trying to kill the Papa, like, quickly. I usually camp around this area, by the way, because you're in such a small area that the Papa will usually, like, get cucked by foggers, like, blocking the view. And because you're less likely to throw out a ball shot that just, like, goes into the Merv. See, I got cucked there, and then I got hit, and I got hit again. I got cucked again, but then I deflected the shots. That wasn't too bad. But slower than last time, I believe. So, yeah, again, 4x is possible, and it wouldn't even be, like, that bad to actually get. I even got stuck there for, like, a second. And then the final thing is this extra, but it doesn't matter this time because, I don't need to, like, pause. It just goes into... In case you're wondering, like, is it possible to, like, grab it before you die? I don't think it is. It is the other way from the other side, but not this side, I believe. So yeah, I just got really lazy here. And it's definitely my worst IL, and I can get 4x, but I probably will go for... That's probably... If I would improve any of these ILs now, other than, like, the ones I don't have world record in, this probably will be, like, the one I go for immediately. The reason I saved this for now, I meant to say it earlier. The reason why I don't have world record in the in you know, a few categories, by the way, is because there was nothing to beat. I could only get ties because we pretty easily established that, like, no cheese all tokens, no cheese hundo, and 3k all extras. You can't get to the next second on those, you know. So. So, yeah, it's just as simple as that, really. But I will... The no-cheat Zol tokens are probably the worst one, but yeah, I would... You know, I will go for them eventually. I just don't know how long it'll be until I do that. Alright, next one. So the first ones I did was actually... I think I did Plank first, then SCDA, then I didn't touch no cheese. Then I think no. No, I did depression, plank, SCDA, 3K, BBBH, and NTWM. I think that's the order I did things in. This is one of the first ones I did, I think. Did I not submit the time? Okay, now I'm really confused. Why does this say... On the boards, it says I got this time 3 years ago. And I did it on PAL 360? What? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong IL. Okay, so this is extremely coincidental, but here's what happened, right? I was talking about SCDA, so I thought I clicked on it on the leaderboards. The NTWM 100% time before I got the 702 today was an 821, and this time is also an 821. Both in 100%, and so that's very coincidental, and yeah. Anyway, SCDA all tokens. This is one of the nice ones, where as long as you didn't grab the 3-meter token, like, it was easy to reset, so I did like that. If I remember correctly, this IL is pretty good. So I got this on May 26th. All these are from 2023 now, obviously. Like, these are all... The rest of these ILs were done very recently. The literal only exception is Plank, Bungee... I just say Bungee, Plank, all extras. That was done pretty fast. You want to, like... cartwheel the block and then... the crate... the wooden crate, and then pick this up. And then you want to quickly throw this down... And then you want to start jumping up this fucking tube. I missed a jump. But I still went up the slide a little bit, so I didn't lose much. I don't even know if I lost a second, honestly. And I got the 1 frame. I lost, like, maybe, like, 0.7 or something. This doesn't matter, because I'm just waiting for a cycle. There is, in theory, a cycle you could do here. I think it would probably save, like, 7 seconds or something. But it's only ever been done RTA, like, once or twice. I think it's called, like, TAS Corkscrew or SCDA Fast. You have to, like, have perfect movement and then bonk off of this in, like, the most perfect way ever. That doesn't even look like you can bonk off of it. It's clearly, like, a TAS strat that you could chuck early in. But it would be, like, the hardest strat in any of the ILs, and it would just be... It's probably, like, a 1 in 100 or something. So... It's kind of ridiculous to, like, assume that you could get it, you know what I mean? I mean, we'll just add it later. For now, you know, I'm only down, like, nearly a second, maybe. Yeah, this is pretty good. Yeah, looking good. And then the Cirque token. Tiny bit, you know, I didn't have to buffer that, but the buffer bit loses time, but still. So now I'm, like, plus a second. And now here's the guitar challenge. This one's the longest one, it's like 2.5 minutes, and it's also the hardest one. Even though I know where all the rings are gonna go, there's gonna be a very occasional moments where I second guess myself. Unfortunately, it is faster to do guitar now. I believe... Yeah, because you can't buffer the token, and then you could, like... It would only break even to do guitar last if you just went straight for a dead 2-frame at the end of SCDA, which is just unrealistic. So, to prevent... And that's just to break even, not even save time. So it's just better to get a guitar... I'm doing guitar as late as I can actually do it. This is looking pretty good, though. That turn was slightly slow, but, like, it's kind of like, who gives a fuck? So, how much... So, I'm, like, a little over plus a second, but then plus, I guess, tiny bit on optimal movement. See how the rest of this is. Yeah, tiny bit on optimal there. I don't even think I'm +2. I do not. I probably like plus like 1.8 or something. I don't even think I'm +2. Again, I probably got my standard cycle here. You can get a faster one, but it's like extremely hard. I tried grinding it for like an hour before and I didn't get it once. I've gotten it once on accident in all extras, and the thing is, right, when you get the fast cycle in an all tokens, or like a, just grabbing the token scenario, the cycle for the rest of the level is really harsh with spikes and stuff. With all extras, you get a really nice easy cycle, and it did save like 3 seconds. I don't know how much it saved here, but probably more like 2. But again, we'll add that to the theory thing with SCDA Sponge for now. So yeah, now I'm just like not even like +2. Yeah, yeah. But then I buffer this. Oh, no, I don't. I don't buffer this. Because I need to do this. Ooh, did that lose time? It depends on the cycle. Oh, wait, no, I forgot the cycle's busting here. Dude, I'm fucking jealous. Because in RT, in full game runs, I do, BBBH, I mean, not BB, floating, SCDA floating block light. The MIV cycles are different, and, like, you do not get a cycle like this. So, you lose a few, so, that's why it doesn't save as much as in 3K. I think the 3K one saves, like, 11, but this one saves, like, 7 or something. It's fucking cringe. But yeah, I got a nice cycle there, so I'm literally, like... I'm, like, +2 without factoring stupid shit, so... And maybe some more milliseconds, like, maybe I could get 645, but that would be just barely possible. This IL was very, very good, one of my better ones. And when you factor the cycle, saving 2 seconds, and fast corkscrew saving, like, maybe, like, 7. Again, that's just an estimate. I'm estimating, like, 7. Assuming the rest of the cycle is good, by the way, for SpongeBob, then that's, like, 9 extra seconds, which means, like, 11 and a half, maybe, total seconds, which means, in theory, a 636. But you'll never get that. So it's 3x possible, in theory, but it'd be one of the hardest times to, like, actually go for in all of these ILs, and no one will ever actually do it. When I say a thing's possible, by the way, it's for, like, current knowledge and stuff, by the way. And again, assuming, like, not, like, the fastest loads in the West. Just, like, average loads, like my Xbox. I cleaned my Xbox, and it only has, like, very barely faster loads than my second Xbox, and that one has rounded screws, so I can't open it, but it's really dusty, so that one probably actually has faster loads. But it has fucking Evo X on it. Fucking stupid old-ass dashboard is terrible. Anyway... So this IL, realistically, there's no reason to ever try and beat it. It's almost as good as it can be. Like, nobody's gonna try and beat this. This is probably my best one. But, in theory, it still has a ways to go. I would like to see TASs of these areas, but maybe TAS in, like, Xbox loads or something. I think that'd be really interesting. TASing in this game sucks because... You know, Dolphin emulator is emulating GameCube. GameCube can't do Mindy skip, so it can't do, like, the most popular category. And even then, even if we did have Xbox Emu, then we wouldn't be able to allow lag on an emulator, because then it'd be computer dependent. And then, like, you know, etc., etc. So, yeah, rip. But I would like to see, like, GameCube ILs where, like... Xbox loads a test, and the only thing, though, is that if you have to watch an in-game cutscene, they usually load faster on Xbox than GameCube. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. But maybe tasks could even be used to figure out ways to do, like, combat arenas faster and stuff like that, so it would still aid the community, for sure. Anyway, this is a very good IL. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 5 left. This video will be over 2 hours long, though. God damn. Alright. SCDA all extras, set on May 26th. So time starts here because again we're doing stuff that requires us to not like load from the area. So now we're doing toast early. This shit saves like well over a minute, I'm pretty sure. I mean, so you'd want to do it RTA anyway, let alone like in the SIL. Immediately, you can get a ledge grab skip here, but it's like the actual worst thing I've ever seen in my life. But or you could get a one frame off of the toilet, which actually is a lot more realistic. So I'm either -1 right now or -2. I'll just say -1 for now. Unbuffered, by the way. Well, the buffer can save frames, but I don't want to rely on that because lag can sometimes be inconsistent and stuff, so... yeah. Anyway, next step is to... do this. How much high you get is, like, pseudo-random, but that was pretty good. Next, I'm, like, lining myself up to do this. That wasn't perfect, though. Off of doing it absolutely perfect, I maybe lost like a second, so I'm like +2. This IL's a little hard, but yeah. Got a ledge grab skip, that's kind of hard. I lost maybe like at least a second there, so now I'm +3. And then the last two, this one's pretty basic. It's just a one on top of a stack. And then standard cycle, I believe. Yep, that looks pretty damn standard to me. And this one, like, the fast cycle here would actually, like, it probably wouldn't say 3, it'd probably say more like 2. Because you're not doing the full cycle. So, you know, including, I'm just making it as hard as possible, you know, ledge grab skip, so 254. Fast cycle here, 252. Not stopping at the thingy, 251. And then getting PogChamp strat. You know, with the trampoline. I don't know why I called it PogChamp strat. It's not even hard, I just choked. Because I didn't know, like, what to expect with the trampoline, like, how much, you know. Anyway, honestly, I probably lost more than the second, actually. So, I would say if you do perfectly, if you play perfect, then 2-4x is barely possible. But more realistically, I'd say, like, 255 or 254, actually, is, like, would be really good. This IL's still good. Oops. Alright, now is SCDA 100%. Also on May 26th. This one's a huge pain in the ass. Same sort of thing as before. Really fucking long, though. Because, you know, floating block takes a while on guitar. And I gotta grab that extra. There aren't even that many loads in this level, really. For like, how long it is. There was more in the other one, man. This is the second longest IL, by the way. So again, I'm like +2 compared to the ledge grab. Skip. I guess I could have cartwheeled it, but I got amazing height, so like, yeah. Oh, I ledge grabbed +2. So now I'm like +5 maybe off of playing perfect. And then, oh yeah, I remember the strat. You guitar this, and then you can, like, skip a little bit of the cutscene there. And it is fast to do that as opposed to using the Melons Patrick because of guitar. I think anyway, because I only just... Let me think. If you... I don't know, because you could throw the melon at the toast before guitaring it, But then you have to suffer the full effects of the cutscene, and then... Well, most of it anyway, not all of it, but most of it. Then you would need to, like... because you have to go that far for an extra anyway. Okay, honestly, it might potentially be faster to do in the way that I just thought of, but I don't know. I haven't, like, looked into it, so I don't know. This guitar's looking pretty good right now. That was a timer on optimal. So I said I was, like, 3 plus 5 or something. This is pretty good. Maybe, like, half a second loss or something. I don't know. Oh, God. That was, like, plus... So now I'm, like, plus 7. And then 3 meter... Oh, wait, no, not 3 meter. So now I'm, like, plus 7 point something. I was about to say, like, oh, I wonder what my best one and worst IL was, but we already established the worst one was now that I'm at 100%, and the best one was, I think, yeah, like, SCDA all tokens. I missed, like, a couple of jumps. How plus did I say I was? Plus 7, so now I'm, like, oh, yeah, now I'm, like, plus 8.5. Got the frame at least. My dog is fucking cringe. Barking. But yeah, so I'm like plus 8.5. And then... Yeah, this is pretty good. Standard cycle? Yes. So like, now I'm like plus 11, because I didn't get the funny cycle. I think it says 3. If it's not, then bruh, but I'm pretty sure it's 3. That was a little sketch and lost some frames. But yeah, so maybe I'm like plus 12 now. Dunno. Because of this extra, I don't know how this is gonna play out. I probably could have done that a tad faster, so I'm like plus 13. I don't know if I'm being too harsh, but I think I lost about 13. Which means that you could get OX, but... Oh, and SCDA fast corkscrew. So minus 20. So if you played perfect and had like extremely fast loads and stuff, then you could just barely get a 7-minute time. But that won't happen. So it's very clear that 1x is possible, but anything below that is like super duper overkill. This run's just like good-ish, like pretty decent. You have to consider how long it is. But yeah, it's just decent. And 1x is absolutely doable, realistically. Even if it'd be pretty hard. And now this is the final IL that is quite old. Oh, wait, this is all tokens. Wait, what? Oh, wait, what? Hold on. Let me look. Oh, I also didn't do all tokens IL for some reason. No, I swear I did. Yeah, no, I swear down I did. Did I just not submit it? Oh, no, I only did the 100% one. I don't think I did the all tokens one because it was already really good. I think. So that should tell you something. So this one was set 27th of November 2020. So that's pretty interesting. So Bungie, you just go for a cycle here, so nothing to say unless I fucked it up. That could have been a little faster, and I mismenused some, now I'm like plus a second. I also feel like it might have been faster to... I feel like it would have been faster to... Okay, it feels like it would have been faster the ground clip at the beginning of the level. But I remember trying to time it before and it not saving time. So now I don't know. Yeah, now I'm just confused as fuck. Why wouldn't it be faster the ground clip? No, it would be. There's like no way it wouldn't be. Especially because I already warped to ice. Yeah, no. Why didn't I do... Okay, I don't know why I didn't beat this one. Maybe I forgot. Because this run is not good. I was already like plus a second. And then for some reason... There's actually no way because I'm wasting an entire load. I think I lost a lot. Yeah, no, this one might be my worst IL. That's just a generic, that's a joke combo, don't even worry about it. You know, I think I lost a lot, honestly. It'd be hard estimating how much I lost. There's a thing that can happen here called Patrick Ledge Grab, where you just ledge grabs for no reason, you can cartwheel to the end. It saves 2 seconds, and there is literally no consistency to it, and it's unironically like a 1 in 100. So you can't expect it, but I guess, 2 seconds to the pile. I even got the 2-frame, and then this is a cycle thing, and then... Well, it is a strat at the beginning that's hard, but as you can see, I got it. And then I got my cycle here, so I'm not losing time. Did I go left side or right side? Okay, yeah, so I didn't lose any time. It is theoretically possible to get left side, but I've only ever gotten it once, and you have to like play so risky that you literally nearly die like 3 times prior, so you would never actually do it. And I didn't even know it was possible until I accidentally did it, but that would save like 2 seconds. So again, more theory stuff. I could have done that a tiny bit more optimally. So yeah. It's faster to bowl here instead of guitar. Dude, this IL is not good. I seriously don't know what the fuck I was thinking. Did I just... Yeah, no, I pressed select for an extra time for no reason. And I have too much height. So I lost, like, 2 seconds there. And that was... Dude, what the fuck? Okay, I literally just forgot to do it. There's no other explanation. I literally forgot to do this one. That's embarrassing. And Fast Monumental Bash didn't do that because it didn't exist, so I lose half a second. This IL is bad. And I missed a guitar. Dude. It's hard to calculate, like, what is actually possible, but it's very obvious that at least OX is possible. I'm thinking if you do everything perfectly, I think a 3-minute time is possible. I think this one's my worst one because I just forgot things. Already in Bungee, I lost like a second, and then ice skating, I'm sure it'd be quite maybe like even like 5 seconds faster to do. So that's like at least. So that's like and now I'm like -6 at least, and then 2 seconds for more bounce. So now I'm like -8. Sponge Bowl 2 seconds plus a tiny bit of movement, so -10 point something. And then the ending could have been a lot better. So okay, if ice skating saves more than I think, then a 3-minute time might be possible, but otherwise it's not possible. Maybe with B-drives, or 360, really fast 360 loads. So it's either just barely possible or just barely not possible. But either way, OX is not just possible, but very doable and easy. Literally just do ice skating, and then, like, don't be bad at the ending stuff, and do Fast Monument, and then literally, like... Yeah. I might even do it after this fucking recording, honestly. Like, that's embarrassing. I seriously forgot about this one. Anyway, that's that for now. Only a little bit left to go, so this one... I think one fun thing to do would have seen, like, how old my oldest one was, but it actually might have been the one from 2020 just then. Yeah, this one's March 2nd, 2021, so it probably, the one we saw just now is probably my oldest one. That is the world record. So immediately, there's a strat here. That was really fast. Couldn't really ask for faster than that. So the strat, if you do it optimally, like, you'll get the extra during the cutscene. Wow, this is like super slow-mo, bro. And with this one, I think it legitimately is impossible to get the fast cycle I just talked about because you gotta spend like a second grabbing the extra. Maybe in TAS, but I don't even think in TAS it might be. I think it might not be possible even in TAS. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, this is as fast as can be, and I got like actually good steam this time. And then this IL is like a huge pain in the ass. If anything, actually, this one might be my best. I just realized because yeah, so that's puzzle skip, and then there's a strat. It's quite hard, but like you jump like in the corner. Sometimes it doesn't work, but most of the time it does. And then you jump out of it, and if you very quickly react, you can wall jump off of this and then get across. This is like the fastest thing you can do. And then you bowl these two, and then you just do this for a bit. And then the fast thing to do is to get a guitar glide. In fact, this is where time ends. So I might have been able to do this a tad faster, but I don't really think it matters. Basically, I kind of don't think 213 is possible with these loads. I think it would require a faster Xbox, because, like, I probably could have saved a few frames in SpongeBob. I might have been able to save a few frames, but the rest of it was, like, basically perfect, I think. So I take it back from what I said earlier. This is my best style, not SCDA all tokens, but that one is the second best for sure. But this is actually extremely good. The old world record was also quite good, by the way, at 216 by Wafers. Like, that's actually pretty good. He did all the same shit, if I remember correctly, but yeah, like, I just did a bit faster. This is really, I was just looking for a tie, and I beat it by 2. I didn't even know this time was possible. Okay, I'll be right back. I will be right back. I'm back again. Yeah, so there's only one more left to look at. I kind of want to, like, edit the video, like, and then do a plank all tokens IL, get rid of the one I already dubbed over, and then, but I can't be asked. So that was definitely the worst one, and now that we're men, 100%, but other than those two, I don't know what the worst one is. Maybe, like, maybe SCDA 100%, and that one wasn't even very bad or anything, it was just like, maybe also Depression 100%, but they were still, like, pretty okay. I think this one has my highest attempts. I think this was the literal, yeah, this was the first one I did outside of Depression. Which is kind of funny. So May 26th. Accidentally opened Discord. That would have been cringe. But I paused before you could see anything. Some awesome, like. So yeah, just like this sort of thing again. It doesn't matter that I got hit there because I still got the thingy and you get teleported back anyway. Then here's a lag clip. I remember this one being a pain in the ass, but yeah, this one has my highest attempt count out of any of them. I 2-framed that, and then this is cycle base, so that was, yeah, that was pretty good. Could barely be improved. And then I think it was just not getting Patrick ledge grab, so that's +2. Maybe from a slightly fast, I mean, I don't know. Anyway. So now it's just if I got the fast cycle or not, which I actually didn't. So that's +2. So now I'm +4, but only +2 of it. Oh, wait. Yeah. +4. And then just gotta do puzzle skip. And then I gotta do all the hard stuff. In fact, this is, like, harder than all extras, you'll see now. Like, wow, only +4 off of a theoretical, and then that happens. How much should I lose? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, dude, are you fucking for real? I allowed this? Wow, I must not have gave a fuck. I didn't realize that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I lost like 11 and a half, dude. What the fuck? And then this doesn't matter how fast you do it because, well, it does, but there's a lot of leniency, so don't need to worry about that. Then just wall jumping up. Alright, that lost me like a second and a half at least, so now I'm like +13. Took a while to, yeah, so now I'm like +15. Oh my god, and even that was slow, so now I'm +16 probably. Oh, and the +4 from earlier, so now I'm +20. And how many guitars was this? Alright. Okay, so I lost like 20 seconds off of playing perfectly, so 3x is possible, but would be stupidly hard, so more like a 4x, so yeah, this time is bad. That's kind of a sour note to end on, but I must have just not I must have had lowest standards when I started doing this. So as you can see, all of them, except for like 3, are improvable to the next second, unlike a bunch of the sliding and driving aisles. You know, sandwich driving can go down. Knucklehead can with a strat that nobody wants to do. And Sunday can, but it'd be a nightmare. And then that's it. There's just 3 levels. In this, there are, like, literally every category from... Every category except for 2 and no cheese and 1 and 3K are improvable to at least the next second, except for plank all extras, which could do it, but only from faster loads, I think. I'd be pretty shocked if it could be done. Like, I don't think it could be done. So yeah, that's basically it. So overall, these were kind of interesting. I would like to improve some of them, but for the most part, nobody's really gonna try and beat these, and yeah, I'm just not really, you know. I'll probably try and beat the plank old tokens one because I didn't realize how bad it was, but the Honda one loses even more time. Well, it loses like around the same amount of time. So yeah, I guess let me know what you think about these ILs, and, you know, should there be TASs of these, or human theory, like, spliced thingies or something? Or, you know, because that'd be, you know, maybe we could find out more about this game if we got TASs involved, I don't know, with these, you know, with these ILs. Who knows? Either way, I didn't think this would take this long. I had to pause, like, 4 times. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you around.